afternoon, everyone. Here is our poster session. So let us invite Mr. Sun from Xiamen University. So hello, Mr. Sun, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great.
Okay.
So thank you.
Today my poster is about the management model and enlightenment of American University in response to the COVID-19. Take the MIT, SU, and UC Berkeley as examples. Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 is a major threat to global public health, and it's also a touchstone for testing the governance system and ability of China's higher education. And in my paper analysis, the management model of these three high-level research universities, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Stanford University, and the University of California, Berkeley, in response to the COVID-19 in the United States. And from this school's website, I collected these informations about how these three schools in response to the COVID-19 and made this chart. And I divide into the student management, teaching management, scientific research management, and faculty management, and the last service management. And we can see some specific and some interesting management that our Chinese universities tends to ignore, like in student management, the Stanford University opened online entertainment activities for their students, and UC Berkeley provide a laptop and Wi-Fi hotspot landing program for their students in case their student might have some device trouble in accessing to the online courses. And in the scientific research management, we can see the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and provide multiple scientific research funds for their researchers aiming to solve the COVID-19 as a global issue. And in the faculty management, the Stanford University established an online teaching training website, the Teachers Anywhere, to train teachers how to give online courses. And there are so many other measures in this chart I do not introduce specifically. And from these management measures, and I give these 5 management characteristics. First is the student-centered management model. The second, flexible teaching management measures. And third, safety-centered scientific research management. And fourth, faculty management that emphasizes physical and mental health. And the last, strict and detailed service management. And from these management characteristics, I gave some reflections and enlightenments for our Chinese universities. And the first is to speed up the construction of an online teaching platform and improve the network teaching training system. The second is to establish a global awareness of scientific research and encourage students to participate in scientific research universities. And the last one is to promote a human-oriented student management model and pay attention to the mental health and practical needs of students. And that is all I want to share with you. Thanks for your listening.
Hello. Sorry that my internet connections got some problem, but I still listening for your presentation. Thank you very much. So because it is the poster the poster section so that we will move to the next presenter directly without Q&A at this moment. So let's welcome Mr. Russell Evan Verternier from University of St. Thomas in Philippines. So let's.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello. So could you please?
I'm just checking if my poster is working. It's
Your
seen.
mic is working.
Okay, wait. Is my poster seen?
Yeah, I see your poster.
Okay, thank you. Can I start now?
It's clear. But maybe you can scale up if you want to.
Yeah, I'll just zoom in. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you for the reminder.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So I'll start.
Yeah.
Okay. So mabuhay from the Philippines. Good
Hi.
afternoon, everyone. So it is with pleasure to present to you our teaching modality entitled Online Delivery of Field Biology Laboratory Course during the COVID-19 pandemic in the Philippines. So quarantine protocols in our country brought about by the global pandemic has forced academic institutions to shut down. And from the usual face-to-face settings, schools purely shifted online. And in the Philippines, the University of Santo Tomas, UST Manila, was one of the few institutions who responded to these changes during the immediate lockdowns, providing necessary adjustments in content delivery and strategic assessments for effective learning through the use of online platforms such as Blackboard, Learn, Zoom, and G Suite online platforms. Now, this course, Field Biology Laboratory, is a 2-month intensive course offered to the BS Environmental Biology by the UST College of Science during the special term of academic year 2019-2020. And this course deals with the field aspect, which is a field-based approach in sampling, and museum-based approach in handling specimens required for scientific inquiries. So further, this course focuses basic sampling techniques on both aquatic and terrestrial biodiversity assessment surveys, biodiversity assessment tools and methodologies, handling and processing of voucher specimens, the importance of natural history museums as repository institutions, and the basic research output conducted biological field surveys. Now, the challenge here is implementing this course was executing a combination of aspects of conducting a field course and a laboratory protocol course necessary for specimen collection and preservation, in which field trip and laboratory settings were absent in an online platform. Nevertheless, the deployment of assessment tasks focused primarily on the practical principles, preparing students for an actual field setup and proper collections management. Okay, so here are some examples of our activities, output-based. And online assessment activities include essential field tools from open educational resources or OERs, such as mapping software. We have here DivaGIS and QGIS. We have portable GPS applications, such as Maps.me, where it is essential for field biologists in order to locate the coordinates of a certain locality, and the analysis of canopy cover software or Canop-on software. So hands-on assessments were also conducted through feasible home-based setups, such as setting pitfall traps. Just zoom that here below. And in their own backyards, and translating it into data for later analysis. On the aspect of collections management, assessment tasks include virtual museum tour on different notable museums across the globe. Now, the combination of content and outcomes-based performance, which is highlighted below in our poster here in the students' assessment outputs for this course as tools to address teaching pedagogy through online means are innovative ways of course delivery, regardless of the limitations of online classes. And adapting to this new normal brought by the current pandemic has led to innovations in teaching strategies despite the challenges imposed to the standard educational setting. And with this, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Russell. So we can go back to, thank you for this presentation at this moment. And let's invite Dr. Molly Wong right now, because I think her mic is okay right now. She is from the Chinese University of Hong Kong, and the paper ID of her is number 10. So anyone who is interested in her paper or the poster can go to see it. So Miss Molly, is it okay?
Yes, thank you, Flora. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Great, and you can see on my share screen as well.
Yes, yes.
Great. Sorry about the technical issue because I think it's the security problem of my laptop, and my laptop actually blocks the access of the audio. So I'm just going to start. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon for those in Hong Kong, or good evening for everyone else in other parts of the world. Just to introduce myself, I'm Molly from the School of Biomedical Sciences in CUHK. Today, I'm very happy to get a chance to share with you my previous findings together with my group, Dr. Florence Tang and Mr. Frederic Choi, our sort of experience to share with you what are challenges of online assessments in the biomedical sciences education during the COVID-19 pandemic. So as we all know, experience since last March, since March, and also in November due to the social unrest. And then after that, it followed by the outbreak of the COVID-19. And because of these, in view of this outbreak, and the university recommended us to facilitate and conduct online assessment in order to avoid face-to-face examination in order to prevent the spreading of COVID-19. And these preventive measures indeed sort of prevent us to, go for face-to-face examinations. So in the past, we all know that we rely on the standard pen and paper format examination and in a proctored environment. And for such an attempt, then it can greatly reduce the chance of cheating, and also to enable fair assessment and maintain the academic integrity among all our students. So indeed, this is really a challenge for us, how we can move from face-to-face examinations to online assessments. And because it actually involves a tremendous amount of work and effort putting together in order to ensure not only the success of the systemic computer technology approach, but also how we can maintain and ensure academic integrity and also provide fair assessment to our students in replace of the traditional written assessment. So we all understand about the academic integrity. I'm not going to go into details, just to enable our students to be educated about this, and also to let them know that it's actually of very, very important matter to have the self-disciplinary commitment for our students for these all fundamental values. So what is our objectives of our study? So basically in this study, we aimed to investigate the feasibility and effectiveness of our online assessments and invigilation methods in order to maintain the academic integrity and also to ensure fair assessments to our students. So in our course, this course actually offers to the biomedical engineering program from our school, and this course actually has a class size of about 65 students, involve both local and international students. So indeed, we conducted online questionnaires and in-depth focus group interviews and collected all the students' feedback and also teachers' feedback as well, because we all know that self-reflections and for all our experiences are very important. So we conducted these both qualitatively and quantitatively, and not only to explore the pros and cons of the various methods, but also to determine what might be the most stringent and effective mode of invigilation for our online assessments, and what would be the most practical question display formats in order to ensure academic integrity and to prevent cheating for our students. So what is the methodology for our study? So indeed, in our course, we set a total of 2 multiple choice questions online tests and 1 online exam in this course. Just to let you know, apart from these assessment methods, we also had lab reports and also online essay questions in order to assess our students in this course. So, and in this study, we actually focus on the online tests and online exam. So we analyzed and compared various formats displayed and also different combinations of invigilation method in the online assessments as shown in the following. So as you can see here, in March, whereby the COVID-19 actually situation worsened in Hong Kong, university recommended us to change face-to-face examination to online assessment. So at that time, we were actually implemented these software into our exam and online tests. At the beginning, Zoom is actually one of the most important apps and software that we use in order to offer invigilation for our students. So at the beginning, we actually used and relied on the Zoom meeting online and live invigilation together with the Blackboard. And as the lockdown browser software became available, then followed by the Zoom, followed by the first test, then the next attempt we use is actually a combination of lockdown browser and responders monitor in order to offer an invigilation for our students. And also another type of invigilation methods that we also take into consideration and used is a combination of lockdown browser, responders monitor, and also in conjunction with the use of the Zoom monitoring. And also, we also try another approach using only lockdown browser and sort of a Zoom monitoring in order to assess our students. So you can see that we use different invigilation methods and also different formats of MCQ question settings, such as display all questions at once and display questions one at a time, and also randomizing the order of questions or answers. So here are some of the results. So I don't have time to show all the results. Just select some of the key results to share with you. So from the online questionnaires and also the focus group interviews with our students, we collected back the respondents. The response rate is over 50%. As you can see here, when we asked the questions, what would be the most suitable question setting for online tests and exams for our students, their feedback would be here. So as you can see, most of them, around 59%, opted and agreed on that display all questions at one would be most preferred. And from our feedback from our students, basically the reason for this is because it actually most resembled, the face-to-face examination, whereby they have the paper questions, then they can actually able to see all the questions at once and to try to answer them all at once, or choose those that are easier to answer first, followed by the others. However, if display question at the time and enable reviewing, about 29% opted for this option. The reason why they don't prefer this approach is because from their comments, it's because it takes time to go back, in the computer setting to go back, and so therefore it takes more time for them, and it actually avoid them to limit their time to answer the paper. And for the first option is a list preferred because it actually disable them for reviewing the questions. And the second results that we obtained when we asked the questions of what would be the remote invigilation methods that would minimize the chance of cheating, dishonest behavior, and ensure a fair assessment among students. And you can see that 62% majority of the students actually opted for this option. They use a combination of lockdown browser, response monitor, and Zoom monitoring. So this is actually the most stringent method they would preferred. But obviously, there are pros and cons, which I don't think I have time to go through that. So, according to our survey results, for this part, basically the most suitable and practical question setting for online tests and exams was to display all questions at once. About 59% opted and agreed on this. And where the most stringent and effective mode of invigilation was a combination of lockdown browser together with response monitor and Zoom monitoring. About 62% opted for this and agreed on. So here are some of the advantages and disadvantages. I'm just going to go through a couple of points. I think I've gone through these. The reason why they opted, majority of them opted and agreed on display all questions at all time because of the enable easy review and modification of answers by the students. However, obviously there are disadvantages because student made or if there's a third person, somewhere in the room, they may capture all questions and very safe for you. So this is actually some security problems we need to take into consideration. And let me show you maybe some pros and cons about invigilation methods. Just a piece of information I want to share with you is the combination of lockdown browser response monitor and Zoom monitoring is the most stringent one because students cannot serve the browsers. With the implementation of lockdown browser, and also using Zoom live invigilation, a synchronous approach that we can monitor the students via the webcam. So this is a second device that the students must put on, somewhere in the room to allow the invigilators to observe them. They're doing the work, and also the use of lockdown browser will actually, allowed us as teachers to, observe afterwards, okay, in the recorded videos, if there's any suspected students, because the system will actually classify them as high, medium, and low risk levels, whether they have any facial movement or head movement. However, one of the disadvantages would be that we have to go back to these recorded videos after the test. So therefore, Zoom monitoring will actually allow us to have a synchronous and live approach in monitoring our students in order to ensure the fair assessment among students. So in summary, you can see that after tested and analyzed the feasibility and effectiveness of each of these formats and different combinations of invigilation methods of these online assessments, we find that obviously there were pros and cons. So there's indeed no magic solutions. To replace the face-to-face examination, the proctored environment. However, on the one hand, we trust our students. On the other hand, we ought to provide fair assessment and ensure academic integrity during the, the global pandemic. So the take-home messages are the following. To conclude, it's very important to ensure a stable internet connection at both ends, both the examiners, invigilators, and also the students' end, and also provide a secured VPN connection for students. And secondly, to provide the clear detailed instructions and guidelines, both to the students and invigilators, and also test trials, we find them very important. And importantly, also is the logistics to, have enough invigilators and also the sufficient technical support, IT support, and also lastly, a smooth systemic invigilation process. So, and I think that both teachers and students should have a mutual understanding about the standards and consequences of the academic dishonesty and also the integrity as well. So this is all that I'm going to share with you because of the time limit. And I'd like to thank Division of Education in the School of Biomedical Sciences in CUHK for which they sponsored this project, and also Ray and Judy from ITSC for their help and support. And also together, Florence and I, and also Professor Ao are coordinated in this course, and our course secretary as well. And special thanks to Clear, Enlightenment, and ITSC for them providing all these tremendous workshops and training regarding the online assessments and also online teaching and learning. So here are contacts, and thank you so much for your attention in this presentation. So I welcome any questions and answers.
Thank you, Molly. So maybe we will leave some time in the Q&A or the open discussion session afterwards. Thank you, Molly. So
thank you.
Thank you. So let's welcome the last presenter of this session. She's Miss Jiahui Chen from Guangzhou University. The paper ID of her is 66. So let's see her video first. Thank you, Yuki.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chen Jiahui. I come from Guangzhou University. My topic is the teaching design and production based on the data of Matthew Open Online Course. Analyzed from the classroom discussion part of MOOC. Take the third issue of the course, How Do People Learn, as the case study. Due to time constraints, I only share the conclusions I collected from MOOC data. Most courses incorporate class discussion into the performance assessment. The cross discussion area is the main place where asynchronous interaction occurs. The construction of new knowledge is inseparable from the cross-discussion area, and I focus on the teacher-student interaction and student-student interaction. From the course point of view, the number of elective courses is large, but the learners participating in the discussion are few. Teachers' participation and guidance has an impact on students' attention. The number of replies to the post initiated by students is mostly in the range of 2 to 20. This shows that learners are more active in participating in cross discussions. Teachers and students can interact with students through the teacher question and answer area. Teachers can keep abreast of students' learning progress and update design teaching content. Judging from the student-student interaction, there are two fronts of personal posting and group evaluation with diversified communication channels, such as QQ group, and not limited to the discussion area of the MOOC platform. Another thing that needs attention is the lack of emotional interaction in the classroom. The MOOC platform cannot fully replicate the Wong emotional experience generated by face-to-face interaction. But emotional communication posts are conducive to the construction of a learning community. When designing teaching content, teachers must not only provide academic support services, but also set up emotional interactive discussion posts to help students gain a successful experience in the learning process. Thank you for your listening.